My name is Fernando Sadir. I'm from Argentina. I am living in Brazil since 17 years. And my business is Fernando Sadir Pilates. It's
Hmm.
a studio. You can see part of it here.
Yes.
And we are located in Sao Paulo, Brazil. Our neighbor called Pinheiros. It's
Hmm.
a very nice place. It's a very shiny place. The
Yes.
energy is amazing. That's the reason because I am here.
Yes. Nice. So how long have you owned that studio there?
Just 2 years, a
Okay.
couple of months more, but just
Yes.
2 years. I used to run another studio before.
Hmm.
Uh, I run it for almost 12 years, and
Okay.
I move. I spread my partnership, and I opened this one by myself.
Okay. Yeah. So you had all the equipment and everything, or did you have to order in new equipment and start from the ground up?
Start from the ground up again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But with everything, with the whole equipment. Yes.
Okay. Okay. No, that's great. The when I have people on, I'm always curious to find out what made you decide to start your own studio.
Well, I come to Brazil to study Pilates, to
Okay.
learn Pilates, because at that time, Romana Krisanovka, she she comes to Brazil. She came to Brazil to teach in a teacher programs. So when I knew it, I decided to come to know her and
Hmm.
work on the program, the teacher programs.
Yes.
Uh, for after 2 years, I decided to open the studio with another person who already had a studio, and we made a partnership. I run the studio for 10 years, 12 years. I learned a lot
Yes.
because for at this moment I used to work with 14 people, 14 teachers at the same time and manage them. We
Yes, that's a
started with
lot.
a lot and private lesson for each one. So
Yes.
at this moment we have very successful with the studio. A lot of lessons a month, almost
Hmm.
1,400 or 500 lessons a month, private
Yes.
lessons.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's a lot, but it's it's hard to keep the control of
Yes.
a huge, uh, too much teacher, too much lessons, and
Yes.
hard work, and keep the team update, working out, and
Yes.
everything. So I start to see that uh, you can have a studio with less people, with more
Mm.
intimate, and that's motivate me.
Yes.
And from them, I decide move closer to my house,
Hmm.
open a small studio, and well, here we are.
So, Fernando, it sounds like you just basically wanted a simpler life.
I hope so. It's now life is never simple, yeah.
Right. That's why I said
But
simpler. Yeah, it's gonna be like now. And the reason why I asked it because now I've heard through many conversations here, people say I had this big studio and lots of clients and lots of staff and lots of headaches. So I made it smaller, and now it's easier and all these different things. Like that's a very for those in the chat, give me a thumbs up if you've heard that story before. Like that's so many times people are saying that. Like I just want it. I thought at one point, or people say this, like you think at one point that bigger is better,
I don't think so. I think bigger is hard to keep the quality, keep
Quality.
the I mean, sometimes people have a different perspective from your perspective, so sometimes that struggle a little bit
Yes.
the way that you see the methods and you apply the methods. So I think it's not biggest, not is not always
Yeah.
is better.
So if this studio that you have right now is, it's closer to home, it's a little bit smaller, it's more intimate, what if it blows up? What if everyone wants to come and then you need more people and more space and what if it gets to that point just organically? What if it gets there?
Well, you said a nice word. Organic is always an art for me.
Yes.
So if it happen in a organic way, it's okay. But push it uh, and force it, I think is not the best idea. I think you can uh, grow uh, step by step,
Mm-hmm.
and that is better. I think it's
Yeah.
safer, or
Yeah. It's
yeah,
there's more longevity, I guess, that way, right?
yes, for
Yeah.
sure.
When Leslie Logan was on yesterday,
Oh,
and
my friend.
and yeah, okay, you know her. Okay, I figured as much. When she was talking about how staff and outsource and use different resources, looking back at how you ran your studio before, who is it that you would recommend that people hire? An office manager, a bookkeeper, an advertiser? Like, who would you actually hire instead of trying to do everything yourself?
Wow, I think it's hard to pass work for the others. For me, it's hard to delegate the work.
Yeah, yeah.
So because I'm very particular with some stuff, and I like to care about in my way. So
Yes.
I am a contrologist.
Right.
And in that way, I think this spread for all my life.
Yes. That's too
So,
funny.
but is something that you have to open to other people in order to have helpers and people who join you because it's
Yes.
easier. But
Yes.
as I said, when everyone has a similar or equal ideas, not equal
Hmm.
ideas, but similar or not opposite ideas, yes?
Yes. Yes.
So nowadays, I think you can run a Pilates studio by yourself if you
Hmm.
think a if you imagine this as a very intimate,
Yes.
to have your clients, your group of clients, and you can even run with all the technology that we have today is very
Yes.
easy.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
So um, when you are growing, you need a booker, you need a manager. But if you can avoid that, it's
Mhm.
simple. So in some point.
Yes. Well,
In
the
some.
reason why I laughed when you said you're a contrologist and that ties it to every part of your life, my wife is getting better at this, but there was a time when she was a manager, she was a general manager for a big gym, right?
Yeah.
She had 300 staff working in this building.
Wow.
And it was late at night, and I went into her office, and she's planning an event, and she's there stapling menus. And the staple had to be in the perfect right corner. And I was like, you have 300 people working for you. You couldn't ask someone to staple paper so you could do something else? And it's like, no, it has to be just. So that's the sense of being able to delegate. Like we should be able to get those menial tasks handed off to other people, but we want it to be done just right.
Yes. And it's not the answer, I think so, because we can use our time in different way, or teaching maybe, or or practicing. I don't know, but it's really hard because nobody is more involved than you in this world, you know, and so
Well, yes, yes, it's true. So how do we empower our staff, our team people, so that they have a sense of ownership? Because it's true, they're never going to be as invested as you are as the owner, but how do we give them that sense of ownership?
uh, well, now I try to be to 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 do my work in an easygoing. I
Mm-hmm.
think all of us as adults, we can assume responsibilities and do the work in the best way that we can.
Yes.
So I leave the people who work with me do their work as they understand, and if I have suggestion, always will be in a good way
Yes.
to build in something better, and to treat our clients in a better way. But I
Yes.
respect a lot. I think I became more organic. I became
Mm-hmm.
less controller and more faithful. I don't know.
Yes.
I think I hope I really um, learn to have more patience during the process. You know,
Yes.
to become a good teacher, you need practice. You need to see bodies. You need to
Yes.
follow the bodies for a long, and that's it's natural. It's a matter of time.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that ties into a conversation that I had just 2 days ago with someone. These two ladies are doing, Danica and Maria Earl are doing like not an advanced teacher training, but their thing is like there's this gap between when someone graduates from a teacher training program and them having more experience. And sometimes you almost like you lose that excitement, you lose your passion for the work. And it's not that you need to go back to teacher training again, but like, what do you do to continue to get better, to get sharper as a teacher and sharpen all those other skills that you need besides having the order of the exercises memorized?
Uh, what I am doing to do that, to keep this, you are asking me about what I am doing for that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is something that never happened to me because I am pushing myself all the time.
Good. Yes.
And Pilates motivate me because it's a challenge every day, every single exercise challenge. And if you be present during the practice, you will figure it out how many things you have to improve, and that's
Yes.
motivate me a lot.
Love that. But if some people don't have that level of motivation, so I mean, how do you motivate yourself? Like, do you just walk in and you're like, okay, let's get our Pilates on? Like, do you have that sense of internal motivation to just dive deeper every single day with it?
Uh, well, each day is different, but if I took a period of time, maybe a decade, I can see that most of the time I am auto motivate me by myself. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
and for people who doesn't have that, I always I have a very tricky answers to teachers who try to lose the motivation. For example, what happen if some student of you ask for show some exercise, and
Yeah.
you are teaching that, but you are not able to do.
Mm.
I think we have to be prepare for this kind of things as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
And the example of your performance could encourage a lot of people to do
Yes.
better, to improve their Pilates
Hmm.
or the relationship between the body and the exercise, the mind. I don't know.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's true. I hear you on that. I agree with that. I find at the same time that for me, I like to have that Pilates in my body, and I like to challenge myself with new exercises and be able to show a client, this is where this exercise can go. Even if you can't get it today, this is what it looks like, to inspire them to do it. But I also get really excited about introducing people to Pilates for the first time. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? So like, as much as I love the challenge of, like, if we were to do a workout together, it would be fun to try how strong exercises, strongman exercise type stuff. But I have just as much joy introducing a guy who is strong from the gym floor to the Pilates world, and it just
it's
challenges him in a new
amazing.
way. Yeah.
Yes. It's very uh, it's incredible how can change the mind of the guy like that who
Yes.
came from the fitness and lift weight for the whole life, and a simple Pilates exercise could push them so hard that
Yes.
the idea changed.
Yes.
And coming back to your last question, I think to keep the motivation, you have to have a, a teacher, a mentor who
Hmm.
who can recognize from where you came and where you are and how or where you can go. I
Yes.
think this is a very, very good way to keep your motivation if you don't have your auto motivation,
Hmm. Hmm.
because it's a technique, it's a coach. Yeah,
Yes.
we are coaches.
We're coaches that
Uh,
need coaches.
yes, and need coaches, exactly. And most of teachers, uh, and it's something that could sound like rare, but a lot of people go to one teacher, to the other teacher, to the other teacher, and
Yes.
never follow a mind.
I see where you're going with this. Go on.
And that never have you, or maybe yes, but it for sure it will be difficult, a
Hmm.
line or a path to go through,
Yes.
too many start in the middle, and
Hmm.
maybe they they help to lose your better way. I don't know.
Yes. No, you're on track with that. Because what happens too is, if I bounce from teacher to teacher or coach to coach, it's easy for me to continue to do things and stay comfortable,
Of course.
right?
Yes.
If I was to work with you for a year, you would see things and you would challenge me, and you'd be like, okay, you get to cheat on that exercise all the time. Try it like this now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And it happened that sometimes you said to them, most of the time, you said to them, where are they cheating? And comes another teacher and say that, and they listen for the first time,
Yes.
and it's good. I mean, you need to feel different perspective,
Hmm.
different approaches to the method,
Yeah.
learn from them. But I think at the same time you have to have a guide,
Hmm.
a very experienced teacher to guide you through the process, to improve your practice, your Pilates, and the technique. Yeah.
I concur. Agree 100%. So, Fernando, how did you find Pilates?
Uh, in a fitness conference
Okay.
where 300 people were doing a math class, and I get in, I jump on, and I start to move my body. I've never be a sedentary person. I will always run, bike, and swim, and I came from fitness as well.
Yeah.
And when I feel this 5, 6, 10 exercise in a deeper way and in deeper with deeper connection and working mind in a way that I never have had feel before. It was amazing. I already I at this time I came from Italy. I was in Italy for 3 months, or trying to stay there and working on the fitness industry. And I came back to Argentina, and I decided to stay in Argentina because Italy wasn't good for me, or it was the same. I prefer to stay in my country. And when I did this lesson with 300 people more, and I feel that I said to my father, I think I have to move to Brazil.
Really?
Yes, it was amazing. It was incredible. And now my skin is
Like
kind
tingly?
of, yes, because that was so powerful. That was so powerful, and immediately knows that it was something that I want to do for at least a lot of time. And it happened. It happened.
So was that Romana teaching that class for 300?
Now, Inelia Garcia. Do you know who she?
Who's that, sorry?
Inelia Garcia.
Okay.
It's
No, I
a
don't know.
very recognized teacher here in Brazil, and she worked with Romana for more than a decade.
Yes,
And
yes.
she brought the Pilates, the classical, to Brazil, the authentic
Wow.
Pilates to Brazil.
Yes,
So
yes.
was she that gave this lesson. I talked with her about comes to study here, and
Yes.
from there I've never stopped to do Pilates.
So she was teaching in Brazil then, or who was teaching in Brazil that made you say like this is where I need to go?
She has a teacher programs here in Brazil
Okay.
where Romana comes to
Hmm.
teach.
Okay.
It's the Pilates studio franchising, and
Yes.
Romana was the director of this school, and she trained people. So I came
Wow.
here and I met her studios. I was fascinated, and I decided to move to Brazil and learn from 2 years. I tried to
Yes.
come back to Argentina, but the things wasn't good enough to come back, and I stayed
Mhm.
in Brazil, and it was a good idea.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
that's it.
fascinating. So, Fernando, we talk so much about men doing Pilates, and I think of the names in the Pilates industry of people who have this lineage and have been doing it for a long time. So I'm here talking to another man who was trained by Romana. So you're technically second generation teacher and all these terms that make you Pilates royalty, so to speak.
uh, I don't think so. I think
I know.
we are
I knew you
we
wouldn't
are
say.
we
Yes.
are very lucky to have this background here. I always I even learn from Jay Grimes
Yes.
and the Vintage Pilates crew, and a lot of colleagues, men who are on the in the
Like
and
Joel Crosby,
Joel, yes, Joel Crosby, Miguel
Miguel.
Silva,
Yes.
but before them, Peter Fiasca, Jerome Weinberg, Moses Urbano,
Hmm.
even Chris Robinson. There are a lot of
Yes.
men,
Yes.
good and strong men doing Pilates.
Right.
That
Yes.
were which are good examples about what Pilates can do for us.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Uh,
I learned from Chris. So Chris was my teacher. So
he's amazing, yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And that's just it. Like, so there are so many strong men out there that are doing this. I'd love to see more, right?
Well,
So, and I'd love to
yes,
discover them as well. Like this conversation for me, people, this is a special conversation for me in that sense, right? Because you different place of the world, different,
exactly. And I will tell you something, because when I met Chris in LA, he said me that he studied do his teacher programs here in Brazil with
yes.
Inelia.
Ah,
You can
okay.
believe that? And
Yes.
then Inelia said that he could work with, or he moved to New York and learn from Romana. And
Mm,
well,
the rest
but
is
yes,
history. Yes.
it's amazing. The Pilates community is very, has the link. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So what is your what's the demographics like? What is the population of people who come into your studio look like now? Like, are they, older people, adults? Sorry, are there athletes? Are there like more women, more like what's the kind of lay of the land there?
We have all kind of people nowadays. We are a school as well. I have a teacher program
Okay.
which run from 2 years.
Mhm.
And at the beginning, uh, after my first experience, I decided to be close to be closer from the conditional from the conditional part of Pilates, not the
Okay.
rehab.
Yes. So more performance
So
as opposed to corrective exercise.
exactly, I think
Yes.
it's served for everyone.
Hmm.
Just a simple exercise could rehab you or put your body in a good way. But as I want to go deeper, I try to put the focus there on the conditional part and
Yes.
push a little bit hard. And I think it's funny how its work is very interesting. I used to have more care about the details and
Yes.
at some point keep the student almost, yes, in
Yes.
a box.
Right. Yes.
And since that I am alone in my new project, it's become so different, and
Hmm.
in a good way, because we work with more freedom. I believe that I know and I believe and I said every time that I can that the method is already done. So just we have to apply that in a good way with intuitive knowledge, and it's changed life, changed
Yes.
life.
Yes. There's I used the story just the other day how like I like cars. I'm a car guy, all that stuff. And my mechanic was saying a lot of times people come into his shop and they're like, I want put a new turbo on my car, make my car faster, make this, do this, do this. And he said, if these people would just take a driving course, a racing course, they would be able to do more with their car as it is than have to add more stuff to their car.
Wow.
And I think that that's the same thing with our Pilates sometimes. We're so quick to add more props or buy another piece of equipment or, you know what I mean? Like, and do more, or we can get people deeper into their body or relax in a different way or get them to extract more out of every exercise instead
Exactly.
of having to add more stuff to it.
Exactly. Or do the exercise that you never see before.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of teachers that are looking for new exercise
Yes.
after 15 years.
Yes.
I don't know if you will find a new exercise. Maybe not from Joe, but
Well,
if
or
you
actually, no, I'm sorry not to cut you off there, but I think there is not even necessarily new exercises. If you stop and think about it, if you're really, really quiet with yourself, there's probably some exercises that you don't like to teach that you need to go back to
and
teaching. Make yourself uncomfortable by teaching that up stretch that you skip every single time or whatever the case is,
exactly,
right?
exactly. Exactly, I agree completely. And there are people who can do a roll up properly and wants to learn more exercise, a new exercise, and acrobat exercise or gymnastic exercise.
Yes.
And I think it's different. The approach has to be different. Must to be. I don't know.
Yes. So back to the business side for a second, because I like talking about like the people who come into your space and the more performance side of it. How do you get new people in?
Uh, we try to don't encourage them a lot. I used to carry my student and take care too much care of them.
Okay.
I try to push them to to try to do the work in a as try to discover by themselves how a movement could help and how this same movement could be meaningful in after 10 times that you rep,
Okay. Yep.
you do. So I think I believe more in the movement today than in
Mm-hmm.
the perspective, the physiotherapist perspective in the Pilates world. I don't know if I am
Okay.
clear because I am a physiotherapist,
Oh, are you? Okay.
uh, and from our academic vision, in a movement could be a lot of things wrong.
Yes.
But
Yes.
you can fix in one lesson or two lessons. You need to create the way you need to create the relationship between body and mind
Them
first,
and their body, and yes, 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 yes. I see. I follow you. Yes.
and then someday we will be able to understand a little bit deeper what the exercise uh, what is the purpose of this exercise, what is the goal of this exercise
Yes.
in a
Yes.
simple way, so
Right.
I believe in the movement more than ever. I believe that Pilates is you need to move your client, you need to treat your client in different planes,
Yes.
not in one plane,
Mm-hmm.
not always the same thing, but
Right.
you know, yoga is a millennial uh,
Trend.
technique,
Yes.
and from the beginning they have everything:
Yes.
flexion, hyperextension, torsion, and
Yes.
I think Pilates is not far from that. You
Mm-hmm.
can
Mm-hmm.
do that with
You can
care,
find it.
yeah, and you can
Yes.
find it. Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
There's a few questions here, Fernando, that came through.
Okay.
Daniel Pilates was asking, can you share how do you approach a new student today? Someone comes in for the first time. How do you approach that?
Well, first of all, it depends how is the type of person. I don't know, type in the shape, how they listen me, how they watching me, uh, how is the concentration of them,
Mm-hmm.
but with very simple exercise, trying to see how they connect the body with the extremities, with
Yes.
simple footworks or with a simple 100. And from there, I will have enough to choose a path who fit
Yes.
them. I mean, I try to be very. I try to be very simple in my
So I was gonna say
approach.
simple at first, yes.
Yes, simple, very simple, and but very, very uh, curious about how they have to to develop or how they
Yes.
can understand, and from there you have a lot to develop. Yes.
Yes, I see. So, an example of that, last night I had a new client come in, and he's a gentleman that I met 2 weeks ago. And we were just talking, we are at this event, we are chatting, and he said, I told him I have a Pilates studio, and he said, oh, I bought a reformer on the shopping channel, and it's sitting at home, and I stare at it every day while I'm on my calls, but I never use it. So I said, okay, well, come on in. I'll show you how to use my machine, and then I'll show you how to use this, use the reformer here, and then you can translate that back to using your reformer at home. So that's basically what we did. So the session wasn't how do I get him in and then take him around and then he could try the tower and the ladder barrel and the chairs. Like he only has, I guess, the floor and the reformer. So I had to distill down the reformer work to things that are simple enough that he could do on an Aero Pilates reformer on the ground with just the strings and the springs and the loops, the fuzzies, right?
Yeah.
And things that he could remember. So I had to simplify the work so much, but still give him enough of a workout with it. He's like, oh, I feel my stomach. Oh, I didn't know that my legs could. Oh, I thought this was going to be more stretch, but this was actually a workout. So simplify it to your point. If we can simplify it enough that people can remember the exercises and they can own their workout and know what it feels like in their body, next time he comes back to me, he's like, I'll come back to you in a month or so and then we could do more, right? So it's not like someone gonna have in 5 times a week and we're gonna dive deep and this guy's gonna be doing candlestick by Thursday. It's going to be way more simple than that. So I need to boil it down to a way that he could understand it in his body at first, right? So
yes, I agree, and it's a good way. And about that, we have equipment. He made equipment to work the body, and this is a very good advantage that the method has if we compare with yoga, for example.
yes.
And I think through the equipment you can teach a lot more than speak and more than everything. So the first things could be how um, to um, to work better with the equipment, to feel the equipment doing something for you.
Yes.
And in that way, they could learn easily than if we are talking and talking and talking.
Yes. Yes. I 100% agree. Like we need to let them feel it in their body. That's when it'll stick, right? So that's the difference between it sitting on his floor in his basement for 6 months more not being used, or
and the equipment is perfect for that, because for those who doesn't have a awareness, a conscious, or a very or didn't know how to use, or don't know how to use the body with center, with conscious, the equipment will give them that they need. So
that feedback.
the feedback, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Fernando, this has been fun, my friend.
Yes.
I'd love
Super.
to throw down a workout with you at some point too. I think that would be fun.
Yeah, of course. Why not? Um, um, it's hard for me again, be comfortable with your language, but is, as you said, it's encourage us. Is the part of we are get out of the comfort zone. So it's
Yes.
always good. It's always
You
good.
did. You did well. You did very well.
Thank you, my friend. It's good to meet you. Good to see you. Good to participate on this project. A lot of friend of mine and colleagues pass from here, so
Yes, I see.
I couldn't say no to your invitation. So thank you
Yes.
so
Oh, I
much.
appreciate that. Uh, so just before we leave, what projects do you have going on? Do you have any workshops or online things that we can support you in?
This week we have a meeting workout will be 10 hours of pure reformer. This meeting is for people who wants to get in the program. It's a
Yes.
process to get in my program.
Okay.
The other project is I started a program in Israel through this technology world
Yes.
online. This last weekend, I will working with 6 super commitment girls from there, from Tel Aviv, and I don't know, just keeping those things alive is
Yes.
enough.
That's plenty. Simple. Keep it simple.
Keep us in, yes, yes.
Yes. Nice. Well, my friend, I'm cheering you on. I'll keep continue to follow you and just support you in any way I can. Thank you to all of your people who came to cheer you on. See lots and lots of people who are saying, one, I
Yeah.
understood you perfectly. You're a great, Fernando gives a great workout. Pilates is saying.
Thank you so much for everyone. A lot of people who work together there. I'm not good to see the message. I struggle with it. But thank you, my friend. Thank you so much for everyone
My,
there, and
yes.
see you uh,
All
ahead.
right. Perfect. Thank you again. Take
Thank you
care.
so much. Bye
All
bye.
right. Bye, everyone.